You've been doing everything they said to do, eating more vegetables, watching the salt, choosing the easy options that are supposed to be just as healthy. You open the pantry, reach for a can, and tell yourself it's better than junk, better than nothing. But still, something feels off. You're eating your greens, yet the strength that used to follow, it doesn't come. The clarity in your mind stays fogged. You finish your meal, and instead of feeling nourished, you feel heavy, maybe even a little cold inside. Not sick exactly, but not well. Like your body's trying to whisper something you can't quite hear. And it didn't start all at once. It crept in. Gradual fatigue, a little less bounce in your step, a longer recovery time after a walk, a sense that your food is filling your stomach but not feeding your cells. You brush it off, thinking maybe it's just age or stress or the weather. But a quiet knowing builds in the background. This isn't how food is supposed to feel, not after all the effort you've made. And that's the part that stings the most. You've tried to do right. You've let go of the sugar, the sodas, the greasy stuff. You stocked your kitchen with cans of vegetables because they're supposed to be good for you. Spinach, green beans, peas, carrots, corn. You've heard them praised for decades. But what if that familiar click of the can opener is the sound of something else entirely? What if the very thing you thought was helping has been quietly blocking the nutrients your body desperately needs? What if every bite that should be building you back up is slowly wearing you down? You were taught to trust vegetables. They were the safe zone, the dependable healers on your plate. No guilt, no second guessing. But time has a way of exposing what the body always knew. Not all vegetables heal, especially not when they've been locked in aluminum tombs, swimming in chemical brine, stripped of their natural edge. You feel it before you know it. That dullness in your digestion, that swelling under the skin, that strange sensation of eating something healthy and still walking away empty. Because the truth is, food carries more than nutrients. It carries memory, energy, intention. And when a vegetable is processed, bleached, and bottled for long shelf life, it begins to lose the very essence your cells are searching for. You may not see it with your eyes, but your body registers it instantly. The enzymes retreat, the absorption slows, the gut lining stiffens like a door trying to close. And instead of soaking up life-giving minerals, your system gets overwhelmed by preservatives, by excess salt, by compounds that confuse rather than nourish. Canned vegetables once served a purpose back when access to fresh was rare. But now they've become the silent hitchhikers of our health, present in the pantry, absent in the healing. Especially for you at this stage, in this season, where every nutrient counts just a little more than it used to. Because when the body shifts, the rules shift too. What worked in your 40s may now deplete you in your 60s. What once gave you energy now leaves you tired. The betrayal isn't in the vegetable, it's in the disguise. The idea that a can of spinach is the same as a bunch of fresh greens. It isn't. And your body knows. It's been trying to tell you. It just didn't have the words. Until now. It doesn't smell like poison, it doesn't taste like danger, but inside every can, there's a chemical conversation happening, one your body is forced to participate in every time you open one. You don't see the lining, but it's there. A thin layer between the metal and the food, often coated with compounds like BPA or its cousins. You've heard whispers about it before, maybe you brushed it off. But for a body already fighting inflammation, already managing blood sugar, already walking the tightrope of fatigue and recovery, those whispers matter. Because it's not just the vegetable inside the can, it's the sodium chloride that swells the tissues, the calcium disodium ether that binds to more than just color, the preservatives designed to fight bacteria but end up fighting your gut flora instead. You were told the can was convenient. You were never told it was chemical warfare in disguise, and for years, maybe decades, your body has been absorbing the consequences, a little at a time. An inflammation here, a blocked absorption there, and slowly the light dims. You're eating greens, but the iron never makes it into your bloodstream. You're consuming carrots, but your eyes stay dry, unfocused. You're swallowing peas, but your joints remain stiff. The food looks familiar, but its ability to nourish has been quietly dismantled by the time it reaches your fork. It's not just about what's missing, it's about what's been added. Because when you boil it down, canned vegetables are no longer just food. They're chemistry experiments designed to last longer, ship easier, cost less. But your cells don't care about shelf life. They care about life, period. And every artificial layer between the earth and your plate is one more obstacle your body has to overcome, just to feel normal again. You eat the meal, you feel full, but somewhere deep in your system, a quiet breakdown begins. Because feeling full is not the same as being nourished. The stomach gets the message. Food has arrived, but the gut hesitates. The enzymes that once broke food down like clockwork now trickle in slower, unsure, overwhelmed. The lining of your intestines, which used to absorb nutrients with ease, is now inflamed, thinned, maybe even scarred by years of exposure to additives and overprocessed foods. Your body still tries. It still reaches for the magnesium in that green bean, the potassium in that pea, but something's missing, like a keyhole bent out of shape. The nutrients knock, but they can't get in. That's the part no one warns you about. That aging isn't just about gray hair or slower steps. It's about how your body changes the way it receives nourishment. It's not just what you put in your mouth, it's what your body can actually use. And when you've been unknowingly filling your plate with food that's been stripped, altered, preserved, and remixed, your body starts to lose trust in what's arriving. It braces instead of welcoming, protects instead of processing, and so you keep eating your vegetables believing you're doing the right thing. But the fatigue lingers, the skin dulls, the sleep never feels deep, and deep down you wonder, why doesn't my body feel better? Why, after all this effort, do I feel like I'm standing still, or worse, going backward? Because the truth is, eating right means nothing if your body can't absorb what you're giving it. And the silent crash you're feeling, it doesn't come from lack of effort. It comes from the quiet betrayal of foods that look healthy, but stop your healing before it can even begin. It's not every can, it's not every vegetable, but there are 5 that show up in pantries across the country, over and over, silently working against the very people trying to do the right thing. They're the ones you reach for because they sound familiar, sound safe. But in the quiet mechanics of digestion, they don't play fair. They block, they inflame, they steal more than they give. Canned spinach. You pick it thinking you're feeding your blood, your bones, your energy. But inside the can, it's been boiled, bleached, and soaked in preservatives. The oxalates harden, the minerals get bound, and the iron your body needs slips right through your system untouched. Canned green beans, easy, right? But they're soaked in sodium, often laced with BPA, and lose their enzymes through overprocessing. What's left is a stringy shell of the original plant, offering texture without the nourishment. Your gut reads it as a burden, not a blessing. Canned peas. Soft, salty, and stripped of their natural sweetness. The starch is gelatinous and the fiber's been weakened. Your digestion slows. Instead of easing your blood sugar, these peas can spike it, drain you, and leave you more tired than before you ate. Canned corn. Hidden sugar in every bite. Your body treats it more like a processed carb than a vegetable. It inflames the gut, feeds bad bacteria, and interferes with mineral absorption, especially magnesium and zinc, which you need now more than ever. Canned carrots. They sound harmless, but they're soaked, softened, and stripped of their beta-carotene potency. What your body receives is dull, more filler than fuel. These 5 don't come with warning labels, but your body has been warning you anyway, with bloat, fatigue, and slow recovery. And now you finally know why. It starts as something small, a little bloat after lunch, a strange gurgling sound in the evening, a skipped day in the bathroom. You dismiss it. You've been through worse, but your gut keeps nudging you, softly, then louder. It isn't just digestion, it's communication. And your body, especially your gut, speaks in sensations when it can't speak in words. That swelling after a can of peas, that's not just gas, that's your gut lining inflamed, your immune cells responding to something they don't trust. That cramping after green beans, that's your intestinal muscle pushing against resistance, fiber that doesn't feel natural anymore, additives that interrupt the rhythm. Then there's the fatigue. You think it comes from poor sleep or stress, but often it begins in your gut, Because when your intestines are inflamed, your ability to pull in nutrients drops. And when nutrients drop, your energy follows. You're not just tired, you're malnourished even with a full belly. That's the cruel trick of it all. You're eating, but you're starving in the ways that matter most. And this isn't about some rare condition or dramatic illness. This is about the slow erosion of vitality, the subtle unraveling of digestion from years of canned choices that weren't designed with your body in mind. It's not just what's in them, it's what they take from you over time. The bloating, the sluggishness, the irregularity, the brain fog after a healthy meal, those are signs. They are not weakness, they are not aging, they are your gut's version of a cry for help. And for the first time, maybe you're ready to listen, not with fear, not with guilt, but with clarity, because the body always knows before the mind catches up, and now you're catching up. You didn't ask for this. You didn't wake up one morning and choose to make food harder to digest. You were trying to be responsible, to do the right thing, to eat your vegetables. You followed the advice. You trusted the labels. You listened to decades of commercials, magazines, even your doctor. Eat more greens. Low calorie is best. Canned is fine, it's still a vegetable. They told you it was convenient, affordable, nutritious, and it made sense. You're not a chef, not a nutritionist. You just wanted something simple that kept you going. But the truth is, the system was never built to keep you informed. It was built to keep products moving. And so the ingredients got longer, the preservatives got stronger, the food got softer, but not better. And you paid the price in energy, in digestion, in the subtle ways your body started to change while you were trying to do everything right. This isn't about blame. This is about honesty, because for too long, you've been carrying the burden of decisions made by others, by factories, by marketing teams, by outdated nutrition science that never looked closely at the aging body. You didn't fail, you weren't lazy, you weren't careless, you were misled. And the most powerful shift starts when you realize it's not your fault. Those strange symptoms you've been brushing off, they aren't random. They're consequences of food made fast, food made cheap, food made to last on a shelf instead of lasting in your body. But here's the good news. If you didn't cause the problem, you're not bound by it. You can change course without shame. You can shift the story starting today, not because you were wrong, but because now you finally see what's really been going on. It seemed harmless. A quick twist of the can opener, a meal on the table in minutes, no peeling, no chopping, no spoilage to worry about. That's what convenience promised: ease, speed, predictability. And in the moment, it delivered. But over the years, something else crept in. A quiet toll. Not in your wallet, but in your well-being. Because convenience, as it turns out, always collects its fee. And sometimes it does so in the very place you can't afford to lose strength: your gut. Your digestive system isn't a machine. It's a living, breathing ecosystem. It needs texture, variety, realness, not limp carrots soaked in brine, not string beans with the life boiled out of them, not corn that's been sitting on a shelf for 18 months. When the food becomes too easy to chew, too soft to resist, your body stops producing what it needs to break it down. Enzymes slow, gut bacteria starve. Muscles in your digestive tract weaken from lack of work, and what was supposed to help you feel full and energized begins to drain you instead. It's a strange thing to eat and feel emptier afterward. But that's the deal convenience often makes. It gives you time up front and takes your vitality later. And when you're older, the trade is steeper. Every lost nutrient matters more. Every disruption in absorption ripples further. What felt like a simple choice, canned over fresh, starts to look like a slow erosion. You thought you were saving time, but what you were really spending was resilience. That's the real cost. Not just the dollars at the store, but the quiet wear on your internal systems. The gut that stops absorbing, the cells that stop responding, the body that's still showing up, still trying, but losing ground because of what convenience quietly took away. You may not see it, but inside your body, a quiet robbery is taking place. Not all at once, not dramatic, just a slow, steady drain. Magnesium, potassium, calcium. Minerals your body once absorbed easily are now slipping through your fingers like water through cracked hands. And it isn't because you're not eating the right foods, it's because the foods themselves have changed. When vegetables are canned, their minerals are leached into the water that often gets dumped down the sink. What remains in the can is a ghost of the original plant. The shell is there, but the strength is gone. And then there's the salt. The heavy-handed sodium added to preserve freshness ends up disturbing your mineral balance, forcing your kidneys to work harder, flushing out the good with the bad. It's a chemical tug-of-war in your bloodstream, and over time, you begin to feel the pull. Your legs cramp in the night. Your heart flutters unexpectedly. Your bones ache longer after a small bump. These aren't random annoyances, they're signs, clues, proof that your body is losing access to the building blocks it needs, not because you aren't eating, but because what you're eating has been emptied before it ever reaches your fork. Potassium keeps your heart rhythm steady. Magnesium supports muscle repair and nerve function. Calcium fortifies your bones, keeps them from thinning and breaking. Without them, even the smallest tasks begin to feel monumental. The climb up the stairs, the focus it takes to read a label, the energy to start the day, and every canned green bean, every over-processed pea quietly chips away at those reserves. Until the fatigue isn't just in your body, it's in your bones, your breath, your being. But now you see the theft for what it is. And what's been drained can also be restored. There was a time when your body handled food with grace. You'd eat, and within minutes, digestion began like a well-tuned orchestra. Enzymes moving in rhythm, acids breaking down what needed breaking, nutrients flowing to the cells that called for them. But now, the music's grown faint, the signals are slower, the breakdown stalls, and you feel it, not just in your stomach, but in your skin, your sleep, your spirit. It's not that your body has given up, it's that your enzymes have been overworked and under-supported. Enzymes are your body's silent workforce, tiny, tireless, essential, but they need stimulation, variety, real texture to stay strong. When you eat soft, processed vegetables day after day, vegetables that barely need chewing, that have been pre-cooked, soaked, and softened by chemicals, your system gets lazy. Not by choice, but by training. The less it has to do, the less it does. And over time, your enzyme production begins to decline, not just for canned food, but for everything else you eat. That's the trap. The body adapts to ease until it forgets how to work. And suddenly, even fresh meals don't feel right. You bloat after a salad. You feel sluggish after a bowl of soup. You start to wonder if your digestion is just broken. But it's not. It's asleep, numbed by years of food that arrive too quiet, too easy, too processed to inspire the effort of breakdown. And this isn't just about vegetables. This is about the entire chain of digestion, from your mouth to your gut to your bloodstream. When enzymes shut down, everything slows. Nutrients get missed, energy drops, waste lingers. And your body, which once roared with life after a good meal, now murmurs with exhaustion. But the good news, what was shut down, can still be reawakened. It doesn't take a miracle. It doesn't take a cleanse or a diet or a drastic change. Sometimes it just starts with one quiet decision: to stop, to set the can down, to ask, what else might be possible? And when you do, when you stop eating the 5 that have been silently wearing you down, something subtle but powerful begins to shift. Not overnight, not with fireworks, but with signs your body has been waiting to show you. A clearer mind in the morning, a lighter stomach after meals, a bowel movement that feels normal again. Not forced, not erratic, just regular. There's less puffiness in your hands. The swelling in your ankles softens. Your sleep starts to deepen. You open your eyes and feel like you actually rested. You go for a walk and realize you're not dragging your legs. You're moving. You laugh at something and it doesn't end with a cough. It's not a fantasy. It's a response. A thank you from your body for removing the blockade, for letting in the good and easing out the hidden harms. People notice. They ask if you've been doing something different. You have. But it's not about what you've added. It's about what you've finally stopped. and you begin to feel reconnected with something you thought you lost, your own rhythm. Meals become moments again, not just obligations. Hunger feels clean, satisfaction feels earned. And most of all, there's this quiet sense that you're absorbing again, not just the nutrients in your food, but your life. Because healing isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about undoing the subtle habits that once felt safe, but were holding you down. And in that pause, in that space where the cans used to be, you begin to find your power again. You don't need a gourmet kitchen, you don't need endless time, you just need one shift, one simple turn toward foods that still carry their full life force. And no, it's not always about fresh from the farm produce, though when you can get it, it's gold. Sometimes it's as close as your freezer. Frozen vegetables, unlike canned, are often picked at peak ripeness and flash frozen within hours. That means the nutrients are still intact, the texture still holds integrity, the enzymes, the color, the flavor, they're still there waiting. There's no brine, no aluminum, no secret lining between your food and the container, just real vegetables. Yes, it takes a little more thought, steaming them, sautéing them, seasoning with intention. But your body recognizes the difference right away. It feels less confused, less inflamed, more receptive. The absorption you've been missing begins to return. You don't feel so sluggish after meals. You don't feel bloated before bed. You start to trust your digestion again, not because you've done anything extreme, but because you've returned to what your body was built for, food in its natural state. Even a small change, a cup of frozen spinach instead of canned, a handful of fresh carrots chopped into a stew, broccoli that still snaps when you bite it. These little upgrades ripple through your system. Your gut bacteria thrive again. Your mineral stores begin to replenish. Your energy starts to last longer into the afternoon. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. Turning toward what's alive, what's real, what your cells can recognize and your body can welcome. Because your body hasn't given up on you. It's just been waiting for something it could actually work with. And now, with every frozen bag you pull from the freezer, every fresh bunch you rinse in the sink, you're finally giving it that chance. It's easy to think health is only about action, what you take, what you do, what you avoid. But healing, true healing, has another side. It's not just effort, it's openness, receptivity. Your body isn't a machine needing constant fixing. It's a living system longing to receive what's right, to open when the right things arrive. And when they do, something beautiful happens. Absorption begins, not just of nutrients, but of ease, peace, restoration. You notice it when your gut relaxes after a fresh meal, when your breath deepens without trying, when you feel full without feeling heavy. That's receptivity. It's your body letting go of defense, no longer bracing against the next hit of sodium or chemicals or confusion. It begins to trust again. And in that trust, the channels open. Nutrients get pulled in like roots soaking up rain. Cells start lighting up again with the energy they've been starved of. Tissues repair, hormones balance. The body that once felt sluggish and reactive begins to feel responsive, like it's on your side again. And that's the deeper power behind leaving those 5 canned vegetables behind. You're not just removing a block, you're inviting something in. Wholeness, simplicity, real nourishment. You're telling your body, I hear you now. I see what you've been trying to say. And that message, it was never anger. It was never failure. It was always a call to come home to what feeds you for real. Because the more you receive, the less you need to force. The less you chase energy, and the more it returns on its own. You've tried pushing through. Now try welcoming in. The kind of food, the kind of rhythm, the kind of life, and that says yes to your body the way it's always wanted to say yes to you. There's a quiet voice inside you, not loud, not pushy, but steady, like a thread of intuition that runs through your days, whispering when something feels right and when it doesn't. You've heard it before, after meals that left you feeling foggy, when your stomach clenched for no reason, when the food on your plate looked fine but left you feeling drained instead of energized. You shrugged it off, told yourself it was aging, or maybe stress, or maybe just a fluke. But deep down, part of you knew better. You've always had that knowing, that subtle inner radar. It's not dramatic or scientific, but it's real. It's the feeling that something in your body is off, even when the test results say normal. It's the awareness that a certain food isn't sitting right, even though the packaging calls it heart healthy. That inner signal, the one you've ignored, dismissed, or doubted, isn't your imagination. It's your wisdom. It's your body trying to speak through sensation, pattern, memory, and it's been trying to get your attention for years. The trouble is, the world has taught you to second guess it. You were told that others know better, that the experts have the answers, that food with a nutrition label and a corporate stamp must be good for you. And so you learn to silence that voice, to mistrust your body's feedback, to disconnect from the very system designed to protect you. But now, with everything you've begun to see about canned vegetables, about absorption, about the subtle breakdown, you can feel that voice getting louder again. And this time, you don't push it away. You pause. You listen. You eat a fresh carrot and feel your stomach settle. You steam frozen broccoli and notice how your energy lifts. No bloating, no fog, just a sense of ease returning to your system. That's not a coincidence. That's confirmation. That's your body nodding in agreement. Yes, this is what I need. You don't need a degree or a chart to know when something is wrong. You don't need permission to trust yourself again. That instinct, that signal, it's a part of you. Not some mystical thing, but a built-in survival mechanism. One that gets sharper, not weaker, with age, if you let it. So start small, tune in. Feel the shift after a meal, track your body's rhythm. Does it lift you or leave you heavy? Do you feel nourished or numb? The answers are already there, in your gut, in your breath, in the steadiness of your own awareness. You've spent years being told what to eat, what to fear, what to follow, but now the most powerful guidance you can lean into is your own. That quiet signal, it's not just trustworthy, it's sacred, and it's been waiting for this moment, for you to hear it, honor it, and let it guide you home. You might think it's too late, that too much damage has already been done, that your body has gone too far in the wrong direction to ever return. But the truth is quieter than the fear, and far more powerful. Your body remembers. It remembers what vitality felt like. It remembers how to repair. It remembers how to heal. Not because of some perfect diet or magic pill, but because healing is its default setting when the interference is removed. For years, that healing was slowed, not by your choices, but by your environment, by the processed foods disguised as healthy, by the well-meaning advice that never accounted for your season of life, by the repetition of convenience over true nourishment. Your cells didn't stop working, they were overwhelmed. Your digestion didn't fail, it was blocked. Your energy didn't vanish, it was rerouted to survival instead of restoration. But now everything is shifting, not because you've become someone new, but because you've returned to something ancient, something real. When you remove the foods that burden you, those 5 canned vegetables that seemed harmless but quietly stole your minerals, inflamed your gut, and dulled your absorption, you make room for the body's deeper wisdom to return. You don't have to understand every mechanism. You just have to notice the signs. You eat better, and your sleep gets deeper. Your mind feels clearer, less foggy. Your skin softens. Your digestion begins to move in rhythm again. The bloating that felt like a permanent companion starts to fade. Your joints don't ache the way they used to, and maybe most importantly, you begin to feel hope again. Not the kind of hope that's loud or desperate, but the kind that's steady, rooted. A quiet knowing that your body isn't broken, it was just waiting for the right conditions to begin again. Healing doesn't demand perfection. It asks for consistency, for kindness, for patience. It asks that you support it, not fix it. Because you were never broken. You were just navigating a world that forgot how complex, how tender, how sacred the human body truly is. But your body didn't forget. It's been holding on to the blueprint this whole time. Every cell has memory, and that memory includes balance, strength, and ease. When you return to foods that are alive, frozen vegetables that still hold their color, fresh greens that haven't been stripped, real textures that ask your enzymes to wake up, you reactivate that memory. Your gut starts responding again. your heart beats easier, your breath deepens without strain. So if you felt discouraged, if you've been told it's just part of getting older, let this be the moment that message changes. Because age doesn't erase your ability to thrive. It amplifies the need for simplicity, clarity, and care. And now, with every thoughtful choice, every food that feeds instead of fights, you're writing a new chapter, not a comeback, a return, a remembering. Your body is ready, it always was, and now, so are you.